It's pretty straightforward, but it is important that you follow the steps closely. Any deviation from these recommendations can result in either the credit reporting agencies or the violating creditors to not actually be required to remove the information. So first, you are to draft and send a dispute letter to the credit reporting agencies, not the company who is shown on the trade line. For example, not Capital One or Portfolio Recovery. Instead, the law requires that these dispute letters go directly to the credit reporting agencies. We recommend you do that by certified mail with return receipt requested. Reason being, we will go over here momentarily. The key elements of a strong dispute include identifying information for yourself. What we have found is if you don't have appropriate identifying information for yourself in the dispute letter, the credit reporting agency either will not respond to you, or if they do respond to you, they'll tell you they were not able to identify your credit file. So we are about to get to the actual template letters. And within those letters, it is very important that you input all the personal information in there so that your credit file can be properly identified and your statutory protections to get improper information removed can actually be triggered. Next is to clearly identify the specific error. So you may see on Google or wherever that you can send dispute letters disputing every negative item on your credit report. You can totally do that. But what we are here to talk about today are the credit errors, the things on there that just aren't right. So when we're focused on the credit errors type of disputes, that's where you need to clearly identify what the error is. And we will go over what the appropriate identification factors are when we get into the next slides to look at those template letters. Finally, you're going to want to attach supporting information. This is going to differ based on the reason for the inaccuracy. In your case, Russ, you would want to attach, get your pen and paper ready, your copy of your driver's license. That's going to be required for pretty much every dispute that fits under the providing identifying information category. You would also want to attach the page of the credit report, page or pages, with the disputed information circle. So it's very clear. Again, number 2, clearly identifying the error. And the last piece of information that I'd recommend you attach in your dispute case, Russ, would be proof of any settlement, whether that's a settlement agreement, a stipulation that was filed with the court, something in writing confirming that the account was indeed settled, so that it is almost foolproof for the credit reporting agency to review your letter and attachments and not believe your story that the case or that your debt was settled rather than still in collections. So here, if you have the ability to screenshot, this is literally the template emails that our firm helps people with when they do want to go through the dispute letter process. That's a service that our firm does totally for free. We do it to not only help the consuming public, but to make sure that all of these strict legal requirements, the clearly identifying the error, the clearly identifying yourself, and attaching the appropriate documentation is met to increase consumers' chances of getting the inaccurate information off of their report. So again, this is something we help people out with for free, but if you're a DIY, do-it-yourself kind of person, you may screenshot this and plop it into Word, fill in all the highlighted stuff, and send it via certified mail with return receipt requested to, in this case, TransUnion. So I want to briefly go over this letter and why the highlights are important. So obviously in this upper right or left-hand corner, you'd have your name and your address. This is important because this is how the credit reporting agency is going to answer you. They will answer you by mail to the address that you have listed here. The TransUnion Consumer Dispute Center PO Box 2000 address is, as of today, the correct and only address to send a dispute regarding a TransUnion credit report. You would need a separate letter for each credit reporting agency that is not properly reporting any account. The next highlight, and so this letter is intended to dispute recent delinquencies reported on the blank account. You fill in that blank with the name of the creditor, for example, Capital One, Portfolio Recovery, that's not reporting the information correctly. The next blank has your relevant partial account number. Think back to the main three things that we need in here. One is a clearly identified error. So you're going to want to put whatever partial account number you have available into this blank. The letter also confirms that if that account number changes, the dispute still applies to the account. Next, we get to that personally identifying information. So back when we started sending letters, I don't even know how long ago, we did not put all of this personal information into it for our clients or have our clients do it on their own. These are the key pieces of information that the credit reporting agencies need to properly identify your credit file, and again, to trigger those protections to force them under the statute to fix the error or face liability for a potential Fair Credit Reporting Act claim lawsuit. You're going to want to put in your full Social Security number, who you're married to, or if you're single, to confirm that in there, your place of employment, and where your place of employment is located. These are the necessary pieces of information we have found that the credit reporting agencies need to identify your credit file. From there, you are going to literally spoon feed the credit reporting agencies to see your attached report. Remember back when we talked in the last slide about attaching documentation and how the documentation that every dispute letter should have attached includes a copy of your driver's license and the page or pages from the credit report with the disputed information highlighted or circled. So here, if you're going to confirm that the account is improperly reported because blank, Russ, in your case, you would input because this account has been settled, but it is still showing as in collections. Then there is improper reporting of my insert creditor name account, again, Capital One or Portfolio Recovery, just for example purposes, from date through date. Yes, you want to be literally as specific as date through date. So Russ, whichever date you would have settled, you'd want that to be the first date, and then you'd want it through probably present day would be the safest bet. Then you put that you dispute the improper reporting on the blank, again, name of creditor account, as indicated in the letter and in your attached TransUnion report. The final paragraph is where you'll just list out the documentation that you have enclosed to help the credit reporting agency identify your file and see why the disputed information on your credit report is indeed inaccurate and accordingly should be removed. So that's where you'd put your driver's license copy, the page from your TransUnion credit report with the disputed information circled, and in your case, Russ, any relevant settlement agreement or legal stipulation showing that your account was settled should no longer be in collections. This is the exact same letter, but tailored to Equifax. Again, this is a service that my firm offers for free, would be providing you with these template letters and or helping you as needed to fill them in. And we also take them through the whole dispute process for you for free because it is one of our goals to help educate the consuming public on how best to make sure the information on their credit report is accurate. So here, the only real difference is wherever it said Equifax or TransUnion before, it now says Equifax. And it also has the dispute address for Equifax filled in. So that's going to be P.O. Box 740256, Atlanta, Georgia 30374. You would attach the same information to this dispute letter as the TransUnion letter, with the exception of the page or pages from your Equifax credit report that are showing the inaccurate accounts. So same, but different. Last but not least, this is our Experian dispute letter. Just like the Equifax letter, the content's going to be the same. Where it said Equifax from our last slide, it says Experian here, and it also includes the current correct address for those dispute letters to go. And that's P.O. Box 4500, Allen, Texas 75013. And you would attach the same information here that was attached to the other letters, with the exception of this time you would want the pages from your Experian credit report that show the inaccurate account information, circled, highlighted, attached to your Experian letter.